So when a higher dimensional being or a higher dimensional soul decides to incarnate on Earth for a specific mission, in the law of one, that's called a wanderer. Some examples they give are Jesus, who's from the fourth density, and Nikola Tesla, who I'm not sure what density he's from. The law of one is a channeled text from the 1980s, channeled by three people, channeling Ra, who are beings that exist on a different dimension. In the book, Ra begins to explain that wanderers are essentially souls or beings from different planets, different star systems that are very highly evolved and look out into the universe and look for planets that need help, need aid evolving on the positive path. And down here, you can see the questioner asks Ra, how many are on Earth right now? And Ra begins to explain that there's about 65 million. And this was back in the 1980s, so I'm sure there's a lot more now. Ra continues to explain that most wanderers are from the sixth density and there are very few that are from the fourth density. And if you don't know what densities of consciousness are, here's a map that you can pause to look at that gives a brief explanation of what they are. They continue to explain that the challenges of a wanderer is that it forgets its mission, right? Because the veil of forgetting when you enter third density, and that it can become karmically involved. So it might have to keep incarnating on Earth to release all that karma. Wanderers become completely normal people. The only differences are when they do awaken, and they tend to awaken a little quicker. It's a lot more stronger. It's a lot more powerful because they were already connected to that higher dimension, that higher density. Wanderers also become targets for negative beings, for negative ETs, because they no longer remember their nature, right? They no longer remember who they truly are. So because of that, beings will try to distort their missions or distort their path, and that's when they become karmically involved. They also explain that negative beings don't usually incarnate as wanderers because they also forget where they're from. So they now have the chance of losing their negative polarity and going on the positive route, the positive path. And if you've seen my other videos, you would know that it's actually really hard to ascend as a negative being. You have to be 95% negative to ascend as a negative being. So negative souls won't really take that chance. A positive wanderer's main mission is to help the planet that it's currently incarnated on and also gain polarity so that it can continue to raise consciousness, right? A negative wanderer's mission is just to create more negative beings, right? To enslave, to take away free will. Jesus already knew that he was going to die for what he was preaching. His mission was to raise consciousness by showing everyone that God is within you, that you are God. But of course, in that time, the language available to him wasn't much. He moved on to the fifth density once he died.